Okay. Hi, hello. Welcome to my little sister's apartment. I'm up here for like a week and I still wanted to make content, so I thought that I would get in on some end of year creation. So this is just gonna be like 13 of like my anticipated 2025 releases. I have my handy dandy notebook here. I will honestly probably be reading like the taglines because I'm not great at explaining books. I feel like if you've watched anything previously of mine, that is just not a strength that I have. And that is okay. So I'm gonna be using this. Also, if it's echoey, I'm so sorry. I won't know if it like sounds echoey, but I don't know how bad it's gonna be on the playback here. So bear with me. I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, so first on the docket is a drift in currents clean and clear. So this is book 10 in the Wayward Children series. So it says giant turtles, impossible ships, and tidal rivers ridden by a drowned girl, Nadia, in search of a family in the latest in the best-selling whatever. So we're following Nadia in this one. We're in, I'm assuming, her magical world. And so just a quick little thing about the Wayward Children series is it's an ongoing series. I don't know when this is gonna end. I don't know when they feel like it's gonna need to end. But these are just about children who find themselves in magical worlds. And when they come back from these magical worlds, essentially kind of against their own wills, they end up in the school because they're having a hard time adjusting. And so you follow the group of kids at the school, and then the next book will be like different kids or the same kids in a magical world. And so the books flip timelines, but then also it is not at all linear whatsoever when it goes. Like you'll get a little bit here, but then it'll come back to here and here, because we've already met Nadia a book or two ago, or maybe even like further back. And so she was already, I think, either at the school or a different school. And so we're finally getting like her world and what went on with her. And I'm very excited because I think my favorite book out of all of these is Where the Drowned Girls Go. So I'm very excited. Next, we have Death of an Author. Let's see. It says a disabled Nigerian American woman pens a wildly successful sci-fi novel, but as her fame rises, she loses control of the narrative. A surprisingly cutting yet heartfelt drama about art and love, identity and connection, and ultimately what makes us human. This is a story unlike anything you've read before. I'm pumped. I can't wait. So, next on the docket, Deep End. There's no tagline for this, but essentially it's a romance. I would have giggled at you if you would have told me I was reading Allie Hazelwood, because I don't think her STEM romances are for me in any capacity. However, I did really enjoy Not in Love, which is like a STEMmy romance, but like not really. Bride, which is paranormal. I was here for it. Read kind of like a fanfic, and I was eating it up. What else did I read? Oh, and then I listened to the This Is My Telephone / headphone, if you were wondering. I just showed my age. 2 Can Play. That, that was fun. Got the job done. So I'm really pumped. These are just collegiate swimmers. And I can't wait. Next. Oh my gosh, Cursebound. Okay, this isn't really an anticipated release because I don't think I gave Faybound that high. I think it was below a 4, but above a 3.5. I was kind of disappointed by it. However, I'm interested enough that I will participate in borrowing this book from the library and seeing how it goes. This one is essentially, Faybound is about 2 girly pops. They're elvish, I believe. One is a warrior, one is essentially like a diviner. And the diviner tells the sister that success is in the West, and the sister proceeds to do something in the West, which ends up leading her to be exiled. And her sister goes with her. And while they're like on this trek leaving the community that they're in, they need food. And so therefore I think they capture and are about to like butcher an animal of sorts that they are used to butchering all the time. However, they are then captured themselves by the Fae, because the Fae, even though they thought were extinct, are not, and this animal is very sacred to them. And so they're like, how dare you attempt to kill this thing? And they end up in the Fae lands, and romances occur, and the romances were disappointing. I think I really loved the first half of Faebound, and the second half of Faebound was not it. It just wasn't good. But I'm interested enough to see if maybe she can fix that, because people love her other series, the one about the blue bloods and like being switched at birth. So I was really hoping that this would be a good one. So fingers crossed. Next, Sunrise on the Reaping. I feel like I don't have to explain to anybody what the Hunger Games is, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. So this is essentially a prequel. It's Hamish's Games, which is, I think the first or second quarter quill? The second quarter quill. Wait, I am not prepared for it. I think Hamish's Games are gonna break me the same way reading the Hunger Games for the first time did. Because fun fact, I didn't read the actual Hunger Games books until I was in my 30s. So, was late to that party. That's what happens when you're not a childhood reader and you have dyslexia. Next we have Wild and Wrangled, and so this is book 4 in the whole like Rebel Blue Branch series of like cowboys in a small town in Wyoming. Kind of funny that I'm eating these up because I started with Swift and Saddled and that was so cringy, but it scratched the itch and I said yummy. And then I saw the characters Teddy and Gus were in the next one and I said sign me up, I love their banter, and that was delicious. And now that 4 is about Cam and Dusty, and they have like such a weird little interaction in Swift and Saddled that I was like, ooh, I can't wait. And the like little like plot point that they're in for Lost and Lassoed. I'm excited. Okay, next, Gifted and Talented. This one is essentially a story of 3 siblings who, upon the death of their father, are forced to reckon with their long festering rivalry, dangerous abilities, and the crushing weight of all their unrealized adolescent potential. I'm just pumped for this. I enjoy most of this author's work. I feel like I found her via fanfic, and then I really enjoyed the most Alone with You in the Ether is like my absolute favorite. Second favorite would be One for My Enemy. Love that one. I attempted to get into the Atlas 6. I read book 1, got like a third of the way book 2, and I was like, you know, I do enjoy this pretentious-esque air of writing. However, the audiobook, because I need an audiobook to get through her books, the narrators are too different. Like they weren't reading at the same speed, so you had to continuously adjust the audiobook depending on like who was speaking, and it was just like a miserable experience. And I wasn't intrigued enough by the weird science and magic of it all to keep going, which is a bummer. Or maybe it's not a bummer because, you know, maybe it just wasn't for me. And I do have Masters of Death, but I just haven't picked it up yet. Next is The Strength of the Few, which is book 2 in The Will of the Many. I'll read you The Will of the Many. Is essentially that at the elite academy, a young fugitive uncovers layered mysteries and world-changing secrets. That's like the simple little tagline. Essentially, this orphan is adopted from the orphanage of sorts, and he is obviously not who he seems to be, which is obviously key in all of this. And the person who buys him is like, all right, you're going to this academy to be my spy, babe. He's like, all right, well, I ain't got any other option, so here we go. And so he gets thrown into this academy and things pursue. It's kind of like Red Rising, except the wifey, he doesn't have a wife to die and spur him on, martyr herself to spur him into action. He is just being a spy. And the magic system of this world is your will. And so it's a giant pyramid scheme, an MLM, if you will, of your will. But, so you, like, when you turn 18, you have to give a part of your will up. And so when you're somebody who has the will of many, you become stronger, faster, you can move things, you can use it to, like, program things. If I remember, I'm gonna have to very much reread this book before The Strength of the Few comes out, because it was already so much to begin with. So good. And that's, I just want to say, my only claim to fame is that I did in fact read this book when it first came out, before it got big on Book Talk and maybe BookTube. That was my only claim to fame. Does anybody care? No, but the Aquarius in me deeply cares. Deeply. So I just had to let everybody know. Yeah, I found it first. Anyways, it's a wild in time. And I can't wait for book 2. Like, I've been itching for book 2 since book 1 finished. Because when did this book come out? In May? I did read it in May. It came out May 2024. The fact that I'll have to wait almost 2 years. No bueno. Anyways, moving on. We have Sounds Like Love. This is essentially, I read the synopsis earlier because I did not know she was coming out with a new book. But from what I can gather from the synopsis is this girly pop what is she? She's like, a songwriter. And she's a songwriter and a bitter musician. Share a startling and inexplicable connection that they'll do anything to shake. There we go. Songwriter and a musician are connected by a melody in their head. So, soulmates, if you will. I'm pumped. Almost like Fated Mates, except in our world with a little bit of magic. I love to see it. Next, I really don't even know what this is, but I will give anything V.E. Schwab writes a shot. This is We Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil. Do we have a tagline for this? Oh, it just says, a spellbinding queer love story following the desires and dreams of a trio of enigmatic young women. 3 young women, their bodies planted in the same soil, their stories tingling like roots. One grows high, one grows deep, one grows wild. All of them grow teeth. Yummy! I'm excited. I'm pumped. I'm pumped. Next. Okay. The irresistible urge to fall for your enemy. Do I really know what this is about? No. But I've had this fanfic locked and loaded on my Kindle for like 2 or 3 years. And I think I want to read this first because obviously it's going to be void of all the things, and see if it's like a really good story and then go back to the fanfic, because I feel like reading a fanfic and then reading the book, you know, the traditionally published version of it, I feel like it just won't hit the same. So I want to read this first, then the fanfic, because there's another one coming out, and I feel like it would be safer for my heart to read it as Tradpub by Sinlin Yu, if you know, you know, than to read the fanfic version that I know will utterly and completely destroy me. Next we have, I don't know how to say this, Catabasis. What is this one about? The story of a hero's ascent to the underworld. 2 academic rivals from Cambridge must travel to hell to rescue the soul of their advisor. Getting there was easy. Surviving it and each other is another thing entirely. What more to say? I love me some R.F. Kuang. So, rumor on the street is that the second book in The Adventures of Amina al-Sarafi is coming out this year. I don't know when, I don't know where, and I don't even have a synopsis or a blurb. But I'm pumped. Okay, the first one, Amina al-Sarafi, is essentially a mama pirate who is retired from her pirating ways, gets called back up to service, and the adventure ensues. And then she's gotten herself into a bit of a mess, which is why we have book 2. And I'm pumped. I'm ready. I need this because when did this come out? March. I read this too in March. This is also why I have stopped, because there was like 1 or 2 books I was going to put on here that were starts of series, and I was like, you know what, quit it. It's painful to start a series. It's painful. So, because they're always trilogies. I just want things to be duologies, or honestly, just give me a massive standalone. Give me 1,200 pages. Like, if you need to tell the story in 1,200 pages, I will read those 1,200 pages. If that means that I get the entire story right then and there. Okay? Just break it into part 1, part 2, part 3, and there you go. A trilogy in one. So, those are my current 13, as of now, in the moment, what I'm most interested in 2025. I think someone told me that the last book in the series that starts with the Helm of Midnight is coming out, which is perfect because that means I can begin that trilogy, because I got like 80 pages into the Helm of Midnight and I put it down for some reason, but it's so good because that one's about like death masks, where you like put your memories and abilities into a mask of sorts, and then when people put these masks on, they can then do the skill set. And in the beginning of the book, a serial murderer's mask goes missing, and it's quite intense, and obviously the story pursues, and I just feel like I will really eat that up. However, I put it down because of life, and then like I keep thinking about picking it up, but I won't pick it up until book 3 is released, because I for some reason just feel like it will be done well. I don't really know why I think that. Maybe that's hopes and dreams. I haven't even read book 1 though, so what would I know? But that's a bonus. There you go. I was like, do I have another bonus to make it an even 15? I don't think I do. I was really trying. Okay, hear me out. Here's a bonus. I'm interested to hear what people have to say about A Song of Legends and Lost. I saw this on like TikTok. This one, I'll read you the little thing. This, and I want to hear what other people have to say. Will I pick this up? I can't guarantee you it, because it's the start of I believe a trilogy. But it sounds really interesting. In the 9 lands, only those of noble blood can summon the spirits of their ancestors to fight in a battle. But when Temmie, a commoner from the slums, accidentally invokes a powerful spirit, she finds it could hold the key to ending a centuries-long war. But not everything that can be invoked is an ancestor, and some of the spirits that can be drawn from the ancestral realm are more dangerous than anyone could imagine. Doesn't that sound fun? However, it is book 1. So there's your 2 bonuses. Also, if you hate the way I read out loud, I'm so sorry for you. I'm dyslexic, okay? I don't know what to tell you. We're all on the struggle bus together. Or mostly me. And you if you're listening. So, that's all I have, folks. I hope you're enjoying the holiday season if that's your vibe. Or the cold if that's your vibe. Me personally, hate the holidays. Love the cold. Love the burr months. Even though it's never really burr-y down here. But it is what it is. You know, you gotta make do. So, that's all I've got, folks. Catch you in the next one. Bye!